Okay. Hey everybody, Andrew King here, Canadian Musician Magazine. We are at REBEL Nightclub, iHeartRadio FanFest happening tonight. A pretty killer lineup, especially because the dudes surrounding me are one of the bands anchoring the bill. Marianas Trench, CMW 2018. I guess the dudes. Can we go down and introduce yourselves quickly?
My name is Matthew Webb.
My name is Michael John Edward Daly.
Wow, that's...
Have you ever?
No, I've never done that before.
I prefer to just go by Hot Tamale.
My name's Ian Castle.
There you go. So we got an exclusive here. Much music heard about the cool lip trick, and we got the middle name.
Oh my God. It was awful. I can't believe Matt did that to me.
Yeah, so I guess we were just talking before. Astoria was the last time that we connected. These guys were on the cover. It's crazy to think that was 2015. We got some new songs cooking. Like, what's the
Yes,
timeline for
yeah,
music?
we're partway through recording a new album. It should be out later this year.
Okay, and maybe this is a dreaded question, but having not caught any of it yet, you know, for those that are familiar with Astoria inside and out, like, where do you guys see the most significant evolution between Astoria and this new batch of tunes?
I think it's sort of our job to try and like reimagine how we do things on each album, and I think we sort of strive to make sure that each album sounds different than all the other ones. So you know, we're playing with new sounds and new songwriting styles, and you know, hopefully evolving.
Okay, I'd love to hear about actually the writing for this one too. Like Josh, a very well-known songwriter, have some pretty big hits in the catalog, many of which with Marianas. But like Matt, you're doing the solo thing now. Is there a typical way, or maybe even just talking to this new record, but how do these songs come to be? Is it typically one person bringing some ideas to the table? Do they get built from the ground up with all four of you in the room, or?
Not usually all four of us in the room, but it's kind of like, ideally what happens is like on the weekend I'll come up with a new idea, and then Monday we'll start from scratch in the studio and work it through until hopefully it's done by Friday, which never happens, but the dangerous thing with not, like, because we don't do demos, that like after our first album we stopped doing demos because I always felt like there was more of a magic to a song the first time that you record it, as opposed to like re-recording it a bunch of times, especially in the vocals. I was like, I'd always be striving to get the vocal just as good as it was in the demo or whatever. And then at some point I was like, why are we doing demos? Why don't we just like do it right the first time and just go with that? But the danger of that too is like if you're writing in the studio, like, I mean, it's our space, so we're not too worried about looking at the clock. But if you're writing in the studio and you're just developing an idea, there's also the danger that you work on something for like a week and a half, getting all these awesome bells and whistles in there, and then you like get your vocal on there, and you're like, oh, this wasn't a good idea. Like, that happens too, right?
Okay. Melvin was saying, shout out to Melvin, tour manager, FOH, you guys have a bunch of live dates peppered throughout the summer, leading up to the album release. I'm curious about putting the set list together at this point, you know, catalog of records. Like, I've got to think at this point, the number of fan favorites, there's not enough room in the typical set. What goes into choosing what you're going to be putting on for the people?
Talking about that actually.
Yeah, we're actually in a pretty cool situation where we have to cut a lot of our good songs, you know, because we just don't have the time or space to do it. So I don't know. We sort of call it on the fly. Whatever we're like. Obviously, there's a set list coming into the show, but usually we'll get together about an hour before the set and see what everybody's feeling like, and then we play that. I mean, there's a few like, you know, opener closer that we might stick to consistently throughout the summer, but who knows?
Yeah, I think it's fun. Like, I think it's fun for us too to be like, hey, you know, remember this song we haven't played for like 5 years? You guys want to do it tonight or what? Like, I don't know, run it in sound check and like see how it goes. And that's kind of a fun way to like keep on our toes and like to not let the show get stagnant or stale. Yeah.
Oh, lead me beautifully into what I want to ask.
Still, Brett?
We were talking earlier about the Astoria tour, which visually was spectacular. I mean, you were flying through the air at some points, and all this to ask, like, at what point, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking the summer festival dates might not be as planned as, say, like an album?
Oh, certainly not,
headlining
because
tour?
you're coming into a festival show where you're sharing a stage with several other bands. It's
Sure.
not like you can bring in your flying rig, for example, or like those sorts of things. Yeah, certainly.
And you're also flying in for just one day, so you can't fly in 3 semi-trucks worth of gear,
No.
Right.
and then fly in 2 buses worth of crew guys to put together one show. When you're on, that's the cool thing about being on an actual traditional tour. You can, like the costs get spread over the whole tour, so you can do a little more.
Right.
The summer festivals, you gotta improvise a bit, and often you're playing before it's dark out anyway,
True.
because the light is so late.
So then on that note, like looking to the support tour for the upcoming album, like at what point will you guys start doing the pre-viz and planning what it is you want to deliver as the experience for that one?
That's funny. I have to think of a very calculated way or a careful way of answering this, because I don't want to give away anything about the record. But
Okay. Cool.
part of the, I really like our albums to have a setting of some kind, because it sort of inspires the live show and the songwriting style, and like you kind of have like a brand for that two-year period,
Right.
sort of thing. So one album we sort of drew from musical theater, and then one album was like sort of all about fairy tale stuff, and then Astoria was all this sort of 80s influenced stuff. And so this next record, my sort of basic concept for it actually started with what I wanted the live show to feel like, and the live show to look like, and the songs kind of coming from I started with the setting, I guess.
Okay.
So I think I've already started thinking about a lot of how I want that show to look and stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Badass. I'm excited. Keeping tight-lipped about the album.
Well, you don't want to keep it away.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm curious too about like with FanFest here or with the festival dates that we're talking about. I mean, yeah, you guys are at the stage now where selling out barns across the country, very very dedicated fan base. But it shows like this where you're sharing a more diverse bill. Is there still some joy to that, like the opportunity to maybe be in front of some people that aren't in your bubble and kind of win them over?
No, we hate them all. No, yeah, of course. yeah, definitely.
It's fun to meet other acts that you wouldn't normally play with, because
right.
the cross-section of music isn't as genre-specific. It's more radio format specific, so you get to play with different people, and that's always good. And then, of course, introduce your music to people who might not realize those songs were yours,
Yeah.
or they might have never heard them before even.
Oh, badass. So the fall 2018 new album?
Hope so.
Okay.
If the good songs keep coming, I hope so.
So yeah, we've got the festival dates we just mentioned there. But then anything else on your guys' calendar, Marianas or even outside, that people should be looking forward to through the summer?
I mean, honestly, I think our summer is studio full time, and then taking breaks to go play live shows, so that we can get a record done.
Right on. And you said you're recording in your own space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. West Coast,
In Vancouver, yeah.
Okay. Do you open it commercially, or like do you work with other artists there?
I work with other artists there, like when I'm the producer, but I don't just like rent it out to whomever.
Okay, now good to know. Our audience, people are always curious. Yeah, it's a busy day again. FanFest, iHeartRadio. Big thanks to Bell Media for having us. Big thanks to Marianas Trench.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Total pleasure. I'm sure you'll see them in the pages again soon, but hopefully this holds you over until the new disc drops. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.